Business Podcast. My mission is to help create 200 new multi-millionaire business owners. How? You'll do better when you know better. In my interviews, you'll hear from self-made millionaires, seven-figure business owners, authors, and world-class experts sharing how they did it so you can too without experiencing the same obstacles they did. Now, if you like this interview, please share it with a friend you think will benefit. They'll appreciate it, and I will as well. You can also connect with me on social media. Look for Daryl Urbanski, D-A-R-Y-L, Urban Ski, U-R-B-A-N-S-K-I, and add me so we can be friends. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy what I've prepared for you right here, right now. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always, and today we are joined by Samuel Levitz, owner and founder at 3yearretirementformula.com and stockpickprofits.com. Sam is a surfer, musician, founder of a charity in Hawaii, plus one in the Philippines, a national speaker, and global investor. He was taught investing in the stock market by his grandfather and has had his share of up and downs until he joined forces with a retired trader. Together, they created a system for US-based clients to more than double their accounts in less than 3 years, to give average investors a chance at making millions in the market. For him, it's not so much about making people millionaires as it's leading by example with what good things you can do with the millions you make. So I've asked Samuel to come and join us here today, help us understand how to make sense of what's going on in today's wild world of finance. Samuel, thank you for joining us, my friend. How you doing?
Bueno, yeah, it is a wild world of finance, isn't it? My God, no doubt about that.
There's so many different myths and things that are going on. People are saying cryptocurrencies, people are saying we're in for a correction, yada, yada, yada. But before we get into any of all that, I was really intrigued in your bio about one of the things talking about how you got started.
I started as an entrepreneur when I was 6 years old. So like most young kids, I ran a lemonade stand. And my mom is also an amazing artist. I had her design T-shirts for me, and I would sell T-shirts. I mean, I was always doing some crazy stuff. It always made my grandpa upset because my grandpa on my mom's side, the investor, he always said, Samuel, education is important. Education is important. But he kind of meant the academic education, get good grades in school and do this. And I was always an average student just because I never applied myself. And I remember a phone call I had with my dad. I remember his dad calling me and said, hey, kid, how's your studies going? And my dad, he was a very well-known doctor in California. I said, Dad, I'm just wasting my time with school. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, oh, man, I'm just wasting. I should be out there creating businesses and doing my entrepreneurial stuff. And he's like, no, what are you talking about? And I told him again. He's like, well, I was hoping you were going to figure that out until after you graduated. He's like, just graduate and, just get it done with. And then you could start your company. Back then he even knew that, the academic educational stuff wasn't really important unless I was going to follow in his shoes and be a doctor or a lawyer or something along those lines. Follow whatever your gut is telling you to do and then just do it with ridiculous passion that is unwavered. What happened is my grandpa gave me some stock, and it was some blue chip stock, and I can't even remember what, Bell South or who knows what, Coca-Cola maybe back then. And I would watch it. It was like watching paint dry. It was the most painful process. I was like, I want to be an investor now. And, the stock you gave me was $16.21 3 months ago, and now it's $16.21. I'm like, this sucks. There must be a better way. And so that kind of led me on my quest to seek bigger and more sexy investment returns. And it's been a hell of a journey. And it's ranged from businesses and companies to through investment vehicles and whatnot to where I am today, which is, I'm CEO of a company called Financial Reboot, and the websites that you have, the 3-year retirement formula and stockpickprofits.com. And the goal is really making really good money in the stock market, which is where I really excel and where my company really works our magic.
And how did you get to that place? What were some of the challenges and obstacles that you faced? You said you tried trading a lot of different things. I mean, what were some of the big learning curves that you had to go through? Any milestones?
Is not as hard as people think. Yeah, absolutely. It's daunting. But if you know what you're doing, we take on clients that have 250,000 US dollars or more. They can use us basically. And we double or triple portfolios in under 3 years, and it's super sexy, and people don't really, they don't believe it. My head trader has been doing it for 38 years now or something like that. He was retired. I picked him out of the bushes, basically. He was going to coast into retirement at age 52. I called a buddy of mine about an investment I was looking at doing. because I wanted to get him involved about this online ad platform, a really good return. He's like, do you mind if I bring my head chef of my restaurant? Sure. Why? He's like, well, he's a big investor. I'm like, the head chef of your restaurant is a big investor. He's like, yeah, man, trust me. I was like, well, okay. So we met at Starbucks, had a cup of coffee, and his head chef and I just absolutely hit it off. Super unassuming guy. In fact, quite honestly, he looks homeless. He looks like a homeless dude. And if he's listening to this podcast, I've told him this before, so it's no secret. He just doesn't care. When you have tens of millions of dollars, you just don't give a shit. You don't care what people think of you. Screw you. I'm rich. I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter. And we both have this vision of helping people. I'm very philanthropic. I've always been philanthropic and charity-based and want to altruistically do good for other people for whatever reason. I think secretly it's because it makes me feel good. So he and I had that vision of like, how can we help the average investor that's out there struggling and wanting to take their 50,000 and turning into $500,000. There's just no simple vehicle for them to do that unless they're a guru like, we've been in the market. That's kind of why we built our company and structured it the way we were. And it's awesome, dude, when you can kind of pat yourself on the back and take a client, see where they were, just like, you do with your online companies,
Can you explain some more of the common mistakes you see people making? You say that they basically are gambling it.
You need to remember you're in a marathon and not a sprint. In the early days of my investing, I would say I would gamble, basically, which is what most investors in the market do. They gamble, much like Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin's going up. Let's throw our money in Bitcoin and see what happens. Most people don't have that. And so that's what we've built into our company is like, look, we're not going to just swing for the fences and hope things stick to the wall. The reason we're buying this stock is because Trump is releasing this and blah, blah, blah. You have to be scientific about your reasons why you feel you're going to double your money on this particular play. And that has been probably the biggest takeaway. Get my emotions out of it and say, Samuel, why? And of course, my head investor, he heads my research team and all of our stock. He has tempered me over the years to be like, we're not gambling. We're scientifically looking at this as to, the reason why we feel, when Brexit hit. Do you remember Brexit back not that long ago? There was $3 trillion lost in the stock market that day alone on Brexit. We had the single biggest day for our clients we've ever had. And while everyone was going left, we said, no, we're going to go right because it matches our criteria of what we think is really going to happen.
So you tried a lot of other things. And for you guys, you found that options is the place to be because it allows you the most, at least for your skill set, it gives you the best ROI. You're not really into bonds. You're not into long-term buy and hold.
Yes. We specialize basically in a strategy called options. And what an option is basically you are saying, I believe that this stock is going to either go up or it's going to go down. Let's say Tesla. Okay, everyone knows Tesla. So we say we're going to do a stock option buy on Tesla because we think they're going to just blow out their earnings. Therefore, we're going to buy an option thinking that their stock is going to increase X amount. And so the beautiful thing about options, and I'm trying to be as layman here as possible, but the beautiful thing about options is that for a very small amount of money, you can buy options for 5 cents, 10 cents, and one option contract is equal to 100 shares of a company purchase. So I could buy Tesla. I don't know what Tesla's at today. I'm $110 or whatever it is. I could buy one share of Tesla for $110 as an example. And let's say it goes to 115. Well, great. I made $5, but not everyone could buy Tesla stock. Berkshire Hathaway is a great example of that. And so instead of buying the stock, I buy the options. We buy the options, which is, again, one option contract is equal to 100 shares of the stock. So you don't need a whole lot of option contracts to make a killing. We regularly do double-digit, triple-digit returns in a matter of days because we're playing the swings. 95% of our own portfolios and for our clients, we love options. Why? Because we get the fastest return. We get double or triple digit returns. If we lose on an option, which we do lose on options, okay, there's always losers. We don't bat 100%. But when we do lose, it's a teeny tiny minuscule amount. Like I said, you don't have to risk a lot of money in an option play for the chance to make a lot of money. So that's why we love options. Now, we also do long-term hold. So getting back to your question, do we play long? Yes, we do play long. Like if we see something that's going to build to a 4%, a 4-digit return, like 1,000% return or more, which we've had several of, we'll go long with our clients and our own portfolios. Absolutely. This cannabis one we've been in for several months now, and it's set to go from 90 cents. We're looking at a $10 valuation sometime this year. It's going to be just huge. And how we structure our clients, for our clients that have 250,000 or more, what we do is we build these option wins in their account, build. And then as we build them and as we're making them all these profits, we'll take some of those profits and build in a long-term play with what we call a dividend paying stock. So and this is how we've built multi-millionaires with no work, because every month these companies just pay dividend every single month. You just get free money from them every single month. It's a steady stock, so it's not going to go down and drop or lose your value. We like to play with house money. So if your $250,000 account after month one is now $275,000, you've got $25,000 of house money that we typically utilize to rebuild and compound interest into more plays and more wins and more dividend paying stocks. And so the amount of money that we're actually risking in your account is very small, because we believe we build it. And we also love to keep cash in our client's account. Like they might have $1 million account, but it's not necessarily $1 million worth of stock. It might be, $400,000 worth of stock that we're playing at any given time. And the rest is sitting in cash. Now, some people say, well, why don't you leverage that? Well, life happens. One of our clients had a medical emergency and they needed cash out. Boom, we were able to dish some cash out. This is the whole reason you invest, is to have your cash work for you to do what it is you want. I love the investment game. It's such a beautiful thing. And I'll tell you what, most of our clients are like I was and like you are, I would imagine, which is a busy entrepreneur. We're busy building our companies and doing this. I run 4 companies, for crying out loud. And what entrepreneurs don't understand is, what do when they make money in their business? They reinvest it right back in their business because they want to keep building their business. But what they don't realize is you need to be more multidimensional than that. You need to take some money out of your business as you make your profits and diversify and reinvest that in another vehicle. And this is why a lot of our entrepreneurial clients are so thrilled, because they never take money out of their business, because they're always kind of plateaued in their company. Where if now we kind of train them, take some of the profits, use that to invest outside of your business and watch what happens. And so they're just really excited that now they have 2 major asset investment classes, their company and their personal investments, that are, growing at big rates, which is really fun.
That's a really common thing, and I had that problem in my teens, but fortunately, someone once convinced me to not spend more than 70% of what you make, which is similar to this, although Jim Rohn's got a thing too, the 70-10-10-10 plan. 70% you live off of, 10% is active capital you spend to try to grow into more money, 10% is passive capital, something you would give to someone like yourself, or exactly what you're talking about. You would put the profits into some sort of ROI, some sort of producing asset, and then 10% you give away to charity.
One for sure, I believe, is to diversify. Like we just got done talking about. It's so important for entrepreneurs. Some people have different views on this. I know what Warren Buffett says about putting your eggs in the basket. If you as an entrepreneur can build your company to the point where it is making profit, whether you're a small digital marketing agency or you run a car wash or whatever it is, you want to take a portion of your profits and use that money to invest in an ROI type of return, an ROI type of investment. Put it in a vehicle that's going to give you another return. I promise you that if you just can carve out a little bit of profit or time, give somebody a smile, it doesn't matter. Just if you carve out time on a regular basis to give back and enhance someone else's life in some small way, I promise you that your business will benefit from that in a big way, rather than just being so inwardly focused all the time. Because I know what it's like to try and build a company and bootstrap everything. I totally get that. But we got to remember too, and I learned this a long time ago, and I'm glad I did, that is that the more inwardly focused we are, especially at those times when we're building our company and trying to get profit and whatnot, we're actually being poverty conscious. We're pushing our poverty consciousness out there. So when we carve time out to give to others, what are we doing? We're doing the exact opposite. We're promoting prosperity consciousness out there to bring more of that into our lives. So you guys, I promise you, this is a spiritual law that works every single time. So if you're struggling in your business, carve out a little bit of time regularly to give back in some small way, whatever way you can. Don't kill yourself for it, but just make it a part of your regular routine.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the people that maybe even the entrepreneurs. What are some of the habits that you feel the most successful people that you've dealt with have? Like whether they're clients or just people that you guys try to emulate. What are some of the habits that you feel have led to the level of success and the predictability that you guys have?
Well, it's interesting because with the financial markets, there's so much going on right now, man. I mean, you talked about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency earlier, which is a huge X factor, a huge unknown in many people's eyes, and certainly in our eyes at Financial Reboot. We are now playing cryptos in a different way than the millennials are playing cryptos. 99% of millennials are seeing this growth rate happen and be like, oh my God, fear of missing out. I need to buy Bitcoin now. But if you notice, you're exactly right. Now, I'm not saying it's going to crash. I am not the Bitcoin expert. I will say that. I stayed away from it since day one. My entire company, all of our clients, we don't invest in Bitcoin at this point the normal way. We don't just buy Bitcoin and sit there and pray to God that it goes up. Smart investors now are playing what's called the futures of Bitcoin, which is on the ebbs and flows of the price index on it. So watch for that, because that's where the professional investors like us are going to just mop everybody up. Not to sound predatorial, it's just, look, we're smart investors, and you need to be smart investors out there too. Don't get caught up in the hype. Yes, it's been going from 3,000 to, 19,000, 18,000 now. I mean, it's crazy. But what's that based on? Like, I have a good friend of mine who's also a client. Said, man, are we going to invest in Bitcoin? I said, look, right now, we're not going to until it gets regulated and all these other things. So he took some money and started playing Bitcoin. And I said, you just got to remember, look at the supply and demand of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. People buy it, but are they selling? Is it being traded? The answer is no. The only time people are selling their Bitcoin is when they have a crisis or they need cash for something and they have to sell Bitcoin.
In fact, the 70-10-10-10 plan I talked about, I don't necessarily measure it, like the 10% to charity. I literally just, when I come home, I tend to put my change in a jar, and then I tend to do things with that change jar. I'll buy people lunch. I'll just give the jar to someone on the street, something like that. Just something that's built in and easy to do on a regular basis. I wanted to ask, what do you see as the future trends of your industry? What's going to happen in the next 5-10 years, do you think?
What we tell all of our clients is that never risk more than 3 to 5% of your entire portfolio, whatever you're investing. Never risk more than 3 to 5% on any given stock pick or any given play. Take profits with house money. Never be afraid to take profits. And I use that in my company every single day. All my friends that are investing in Bitcoin, I'm like, guys, stop sending me Facebook messages that your Bitcoin is up another 20%. Take some profits. Use that money.
So, Samuel, you've done a lot. You've kind of walked us through the baby steps of getting started and even what areas to avoid and what to focus on. And you even told us how to use it for profit if anyone's like just getting started and getting out. So you've really kind of helped us understand the landscape and what we should be doing and safe moves to make. If anyone's been listening to this and really resonates with you and wants more information, how do they get in touch?
You said, how do people get in touch with us? So if your listeners are US based, they got to be US based to work with us. You got to have a minimum of 250,000 US dollars to use in your portfolio or more. If that is you, you can go to the number 3yearretirementformula.com. So the number 3yearretirementformula.com and get in touch with us that way. I would imagine some of your listeners or most of your listeners might not have 250,000 stashed away or more. Those people, you can go to stockpickprofits.com. One of our clients bought one of those courses online about how to make money in the stock market, and it was a full-time job for him. And he was up 30 grand on a play. He went to go take a shower, came back out, and he lost it all. And so he's like, I don't want to, this sucks. So what's nice about this service is we don't day trade. We're what's called swing traders, which is, maybe 2 or 3 times a week we'll have a trade. It's never a hurry up and rush like you've got 5 seconds to make the trade. It's casual. you get in at this price. And, it's very simple. We don't believe in making money in the investment world should be a stressful process. It should be simple. It should be done for you. That's what basically this is. It's like, you don't have to learn the stock market like we've got over 55 years of cumulative experience in. You can really tap into this service now at stockpickprofits.com. And I think we've got it at $67 a month.
Samuel, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. It's an honor and a pleasure. Again, everyone, if you've been listening, if you enjoyed this, check out stockpickprofits.com or 3yearretirementformula.com. You've reached the end of our interview. Now, first, let me thank you for listening. I appreciate and respect you more than you'll ever know. And now I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what 3 lessons did you just learn? What 3 aha moments just jumped out at you? Second, what can you implement for yourself and your business in the next 24 hours? Third, what can you give to someone else to help you with, or give them to just do it for you? Whatever it is, remember, taking action is the secret sauce to results. Now, if you think this interview would be helpful for a friend, please give them a link to it. It'll help them and it'll help me too. I'd also like to invite you to help me find out more about the challenges you're facing, your dreams, your goals, and how I can help you overcome what's holding you back. We both do better when we know better, and your success is my success. So please reach out and interact. You can visit our website, bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, where I'm from and where I'm living. You're welcome to also try out one of our paid programs. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much every other social media channel you can think of. You should also subscribe to the podcast, and if you're enjoying them, please leave us a nice review. It really helps. That's all for now. Once again, thank you. Take care of yourself, and remember, the world needs the best business you can build. And I believe in you. Hi, I'm Daryl Urbanski, and welcome to the Best Business Podcast. My mission is to help create 200 new multi-millionaire business owners. How? You'll do better when you know better. In my interviews, you'll hear from self-made millionaires, 7-figure business owners, authors, and world-class experts sharing how they did it so you can too without experiencing the same obstacles they did. When your life and your business grow as a result of what you're about to discover, please call me and tell me about it. Now, if you like this interview, please share it with a friend you think will benefit. They'll appreciate it, and I will as well. You can also connect with me on social media. Look for Daryl Urbanski, D-A-R-Y-L, Urban Ski, U-R-B-A-N-S-K-I, and add me so we can be friends. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy what I've prepared for you right here, right now. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always, and today we are joined by Julia Mann, a beauty business growth coach, mother of 2, online course creator, author, and speaker from Brisbane, Australia. She helps women from all over the world to find their true inner calling in beauty care businesses and then grow them to their full potential. Through her teachings in the beauty industry, she has created a following of thousands from all over the world. Her approach is straight to the point, without the fluff, and with heart. I've asked her here to join us today to see what lessons we can learn through the secrets she shares with her followers. So Julia, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Daryl. I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super pumped. And so it's just like these awesome little niches that people are just crushing it in. And I just am so inspired by people like that. How did you get started? I mean, what were you doing before you came into this? Do you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Did your parents own businesses? How did you get started?
My dad is like the least entrepreneurial person you'll ever meet. He always worked for people. And my mum is a kindergarten teacher. I didn't grow up around entrepreneurial people whatsoever. And I teach that now to my people all the time, that people don't know why they might be a little bit different or perceived differently. It's because I believe everyone is kind of born to be different or an entrepreneur, but you don't know that until later on in life when you just don't fit in. I always had like different circles of friends. I always rotated whatever I needed from the one group, and then I kind of moved on.
And so what were some of the biggest challenges you've encountered on your journey? I mean, again, it's not an easy task to find a path and a way to generate a livelihood running your own business. So what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Yeah, it took a long time because I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30 now. So only about 3.5 years ago, I thought, far out, like what have I done with my life? Like I've done so many different things surrounding beauty. I've done some acting and singing. Like I'm very creative. And I was always kind of stuck in the beauty niche for like 15 years or so, but trying out so many different things. And I was always busy. Like I was working many nights and weekends. I hardly had time for the family. I was like, how can I make a loss being so busy? And so for 2 weeks straight, I was really depressed. I cried and I was like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I'm still young. I don't want to go work for other people. So I decided then and there I needed help because obviously I have no idea about business, social media, marketing, branding. One of my mentors, he said to me, if you have no idea what your true inner calling was, something that you were born to do, just ask closest friends and family and ask them. And I literally said, okay, fine, I'll do that. So I wrote them a message saying, look, I'm kind of at my wit. And what do you think I should be doing? Or what do you really think I'm really good at? What are some of my qualities that you see in me that could make me successful? All throughout the board, everyone came back to me and said, Julia, you're really, really good at teaching things, even though obviously I wasn't a teacher back then. But we just have a way of explaining things so easily that everybody understands. And you're so passionate and excited about helping other people. So I literally decided then and there, I'm going to quit everything I was doing. I was doing hairdressing, makeup, bridal work. I literally quit everything I was doing and just decided to do eyelash extensions. I opened up a group the next day on Facebook and for lash artists worldwide, because obviously I had been taking a couple of courses to kind of learn how to become an influencer in your own niche. Open up that Facebook group that has now today over 16,000 members worldwide with tips and tricks. And also now it's just a really huge community that kind of supports each other without me actually having to do very much in there now. In the beginning, I did a lot, obviously. And because I was in there and I offered my teachings or my tips for lashes for free, people started to ask if I could actually train them, if I had any training courses, which I did 4 or 5 months after having the group. I literally wrote a course and I had people come in and pay me like $2,000 for 2 days to train with me, which was like unheard of. Like I hadn't made $2,000 a month before. Because that Facebook group was also worldwide. I had lots of girls ask me from overseas, well, why can't you do an online course for us? So I'm like, sure, I can do that. So I wrote an online course which launched. That's what I have been doing for the last 2.5 years. From there on, people ask me, how do you do that? Getting people interested in you and what you're doing. How did you find out what you're really good at? How did you manage to build such a successful business in the end? So now I am actually coaching people on that as well, and actually kind of moving away from just teaching the beauty side of things. But I'm actually teaching business and the social media and branding and how to become an expert in something.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, they're so powerful now. Those are the new medias. In fact, I was just watching a video where some guy was just going on about that, how he raised $20 million for real estate investments using Facebook and Facebook Live as his only tool, which is kind of fantastic if you think about it, like how amazing that is. Just getting on Facebook, which with a smartphone, I mean, really, right? That's all he had. And you can raise $20 million. Now, obviously, there's some people like, wow, that's amazing. I can do a Facebook Live. You got to make sure that you've got the backbone to deliver, but it doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. If you've got a skill and people recognize it right when they see it. So what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome? Like you said, you were kind of struggling and trying to figure out your way. Now you figured out your way. Has everything just really clicked? Has it just unfolded? Were there challenges? Did you have anything that you had to figure out that's helped you? I mean, you say you've done multiple 6 figures in the last 6 months alone. Has there been like a learning curve? You know what I mean? Like, is there, oh, I figured this out. That's helped you multiply the results?
It would be amazing if I could just make multiple 6 figures, knowing everything from today till tomorrow. But obviously, it took a long time. I invested in my own training, mentoring, and coaching programs that I did in masterminds. And I think the last 2 years have just been a huge learning curve. The main thing is literally mentally. Even though I now think I was born an entrepreneur, I didn't know that until a few years ago, why I was so weird in other people's eyes and why I always wanted different things. But because I had to actually learn and teach myself this mindset, and I did quite a few courses on that as well. Like you have to literally wake up in the morning, you have to have a plan, you need to work for yourself to actually impact other people's lives that I needed to overcome because I just didn't have that. I had I have a business at home. I kind of, like working for myself, but I wasn't making money. I didn't know the right things to do. And that's because my mindset wasn't there and I wasn't understanding what actually needed to be done. I needed to work really, really hard. For the first 6 months, I think I worked like until 1 or 2 p.m. every bloody morning. It was a lot of work. hurdle when you have a young family to say it is okay to invest that much time and money into your business as well, but you will get so many rewards by doing that. Like working every single day, you just got to get up and do it.
I love that. I'm a firm believer that it really comes down to just being an entrepreneur. Money is great, but honestly, I know people that have made a ton of money and they're miserable. I know people that are broke that are super happy. My personal philosophy is be about the process, be about the grind, be about the waking up and just having a day that you could do Monday to Sunday to Monday again without having to need a break. Maybe you're not working a 12-hour day. Maybe you're working a 6-hour day, and then you make some time to be with your kids and you make some time to watch your favorite show and whatever. But it's a day that you could grind out 7 days a week. And every single day you're putting effort towards your business. Every single day you have to try to identify, all right, I've got these 5-6 tasks to get done. If I only get one of them done, which one's the most important? And trying to focus your entire day on that single task alone and not deviate off it till it's complete, which can be really tough. There's all sorts of excuses and interruptions and things that get in the way. But it's really just about having that 24-hour period. Doesn't matter how old you are, how poor you are, how rich you are, everyone only gets 24 hours in a day. There's no handicap, there's no head start, there's no nothing else. And so really it comes down to who manages their time better. And my step-adopted dad told me this when I was a kid. We were driving and I forget where we were going and I was kind of sleepy, but he was like, we're just animals. He's like, well, we're also part tree. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we're kind of part plant. And I was like, I don't get what you mean. He says, well, whatever we focus on grows. Like if you focus on a video game or a TV series, your knowledge on that grows. Your comfort level with just sitting there watching TV grows. If you focus on going to the gym every single day, you'll miss it when you don't go. Like you said, you have to be willing to work hard and be intentional. And I agree with you. A lot of people, they get into this 9 to 5, clock in, clock out mentality where I just show up, I just do a satisfactory job. I mean, I want to be good at what I do. I'm here to really just collect a paycheck. This isn't my true calling, and they don't pay me what I'm really worth. Like they get stuck in that kind of box, right? That like of not trying to reach, not pushing, not bouncing against the walls, not trying to achieve their full potential. And so then when they try to be an entrepreneur, they kind of bring that with them. Well, I've had a hard day. I should, I did enough. I should probably stop, My girlfriend and I had to put in rules so we made sure we got enough sleep because we were like, we have to make sure we actually sleep because we would just work. We would work all night.
Another thing that you're just talking about time. This was another big, big struggle for me in the very beginning because I used to be such a perfectionist. And one of my coaches actually taught me you have to take massive imperfect action. But another thing was the time where I really struggled in the beginning because I was such a perfectionist was to actually let go of some of those tasks that I should have been outsourcing for months and months and months before that. I have a full-time virtual assistant. I think I told you about her. She's amazing. Without her, I would literally be lost. I wouldn't have a Facebook or an Instagram account. Like she does everything for me now so that I can actually work on my business and not in my business and work on the tasks that make more money or do like strategizing myself or I come up with new course content or I go live in my groups and support all my clients. I literally try to do everything by myself and I was totally burned out. Whoever is listening to the show, I would highly recommend, especially if you are in the beginning of your entrepreneurial phase or stage in your life, you need to find people to do that sort of stuff, your emails, your social media posting, your designing. You can't really grow your business if you don't make room for team or team members. You can't.
Right. I think you might remember I said this before. I've been really big on this as of late, and it's multiple teams of income. I had a guest on here, Brad Martineau, great interview. People listening may want to go back and listen to that. But he said it, and I love it. He says, when you look up the word entrepreneur in the dictionary, what it says is a person who organizes a business or businesses. What it doesn't say is a person who answers the phone, mops the floor, makes a sale, does the bookkeeping, cleans the toilet, delivers a service. Like it just doesn't say that. That's not what it says. It's about building a team. And so that's where you have to get into the mindset that you're here to provide a solution for a group of people. You're not here to be all hail Daryl, all hail Julia, all hail whoever. It's about delivering a service and solving a problem for somebody. And if you're working too many hours, then maybe you need to build your team because it's not just about you. It's about the problem that you're solving for a certain group of people. That's what they're paying for. And some businesses are guru businesses, but even then, there's a lot of people that have coaching programs and they're not the one doing everything. They step in. It's like a surgeon. The surgeon might have to make the incision on the heart and do the stitching, but they don't put the person under. They don't cut them open. They don't prep them for surgery. And even after that part's done, they don't do the rest of the stuff. They don't close up the wound. They don't do the stitches. They do what they have to do. They're in, they're out. They move on to the next thing because their time is valuable. And they're the only ones that can do those high level things that you mentioned. And that's where the highest impact, highest value, time and energy and effort is. So what you said is really, really, really important, and I really hope resonates with some of the listeners. Start thinking about multiple teams of income, not necessarily multiple streams, but multiple teams of income where you've got teams of people accomplishing goals and objectives. And then that's where the sum is greater than the parts. And that's where, because you have a team, you're able to do things that people couldn't necessarily do individually. And that's why people come for you for your product or service. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see your clients making? Like, what are some of the things that you see them tripping up on a lot and just struggling with? I mean, when people come to you and they're like, you make it look so easy, whether it's with Facebook or your emails or who knows what seem to be the sticking points for your followers?
Facebook is changing like every week, and Instagram has changed a lot as well. And it's very hard to reach people now. I think people are just really confused about all the changes that are happening. People are just scared to actually have a look at it and get started. And a lot of people just Google, and who knows what's good on Google and what's correct and how old it is and how much has it been updated. So I think it's really, really hard to find the exact right information that is needed for this certain week or month of Facebook and with the techie stuff. Because, it is a little bit scary to get started, and you've got to study a little bit, and you've got to make time for that sort of thing if you don't want to outsource it, if you want to learn it yourself. People have issues with that. And then also another big mistake I see a lot of people make is that they try and do everything at once. Instagram, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, their Twitter, they want to do everything at once, but they haven't really figured out where their audience is actually hanging out. Do they find you on LinkedIn? Like, my audience wouldn't find me on LinkedIn. I know that because I've researched and I've done courses on that sort of stuff. So I know that people should only be focusing on the one thing. Once they're good at it, do the second. Then once you're good at that, do the third. Don't do everything at the same time, because you're never going to be able to focus and get something done straight away, because we want results. We don't fiddle around and do something here, something there, something everywhere. This is what I used to do all the time. And so this is why it's important, like you said earlier, schedule your day. Make a day just for Facebook. Make a day just for Instagram. And get everybody else to answer your messages. And that way you actually get stuff done and you learn it. And then you can implement it. And don't just learn something and don't implement it. I actually made a live video about that the other day in one of my VIP groups, and I said, are you a course junkie? I went through my list of courses I purchased over the last 5 years, and it's just ridiculous. And one of them I haven't even looked at. Like, just do one thing at a time, be really good at that, and then move on to the next. On the other hand, if you see a great opportunity there, like, don't push that away either. You've got to have a few different things, but don't try to be great at everything from the start.
You're right. There's like the hard skills people need. So there's things like you said, like maybe making a landing page, and they don't necessarily need to know how to skills, but they need to know what it should be like, right? Like if you're going to go get a haircut, you know what you do want to look like and what you don't want to look like. So that's an important thing. And that's kind of the hard skills where you have to know that stuff. But then there's a lot of soft skills that are involved, things that maybe aren't very visible at the beginning, things like how to hire, how to manage a team, how to communicate with people. Those sorts of skills, they become really important because that's what a business is. A lot of people in business don't want to talk to customers. They don't want to talk to staff. All a company is a group of people providing a product or service to another group of people. It's just a group of people solving someone else's problem with a product or service, and so there's a lot of people, again, they get kind of confused, I think, and they just want to be isolated. I think it's important that you keep your priorities straight and that you learn some of the hard skills, the rules to play, and then after that get into the soft skills. And the hard rules to play, there's traffic, there's conversion, then there's delivery, fulfillment of what you promised. There's only really 3 ways to get traffic. You can buy it with ads, you can build it like you've got with your Facebook group, like I have with this podcast following, and you can borrow it. Like right now, you are borrowing traffic from me. You're coming on here and it's kind of a collaboration where I need help creating some content, and so you're going to give me an hour of your time, and in exchange, I'm going to put you in front of my audience. So you're borrowing my audience, and a few of them will really resonate with you and they'll follow you as well as me. It's a win-win-win for everybody. You can buy it, you can borrow it, you can build it. And the real make or break between small businesses and large businesses is the ability to buy traffic, because it's not easy. It's a painful, expensive route to take. But once you learn how to master that, I mean, it's almost like having a sales rep on your company. For a lot of people, they are their own sales rep, and they try to hire other people to sell, and they don't sell, and it takes forever to get things up and running. But once they do finally get someone, then it might take a month, 2 months, 3 months, but once they finally do get someone who can close and sell, that's a huge asset for the company, because now the owner can still have new customers coming in without having to be the one personally selling. You need to treat your paid advertising like that, where you invest time and money and energy and resources in developing it, and not just spend money and have eyes off it. It's like a sales rep. Hey, did you go out today making sales? No? Okay, let's talk about why. Let's figure, and coach and train till you get something that functions. So that's the traffic part. And then the conversion part is obviously, like I said, making sales, right? Getting people to join your programs, building that community, whether you're just getting them to opt in or buy a cheap product or buy a $2,000 live event ticket, like you said. And of course, delivery. If you don't deliver, especially in today's day and age, things are so transparent, people are going to hate you really quickly. And in fact, Oprah would have a team of people go in and do a diagnostic on any business they wanted to mention or feature on her show, because they call it the Oprah effect, and it could kill businesses. Because if some small bakery gets mentioned on Oprah, all of a sudden, boom, they're flooded with like 1,000 people on a Saturday afternoon. And these people are lined up on the street, and these people get upset. They get pissed off, right? And so all of a sudden they leave a bunch of negative reviews. And this great business that's got a great product, great service, great staff, great owner are just so overwhelmed. Again, online, how transparent things are, it just gets bombarded with all these negative reviews. People are upset. They bought something, they didn't get what they wanted, and it kills them. It just floods them. And their competitors, it's like a feeding frenzy. So they would actually have to go and assess that. And so that's a whole nother section of the business that you have to master. But those are just the hard skills. There's a lot to it. It's a lot of hours, a lot of learning. Do you feel that you've had any habits that have really helped you juggle having kids and do the education and do the implementation?
I have learned to really systemize and use my time to the best of my ability. As kids, you can only plan that much. So it's really, really important to have a supportive partner, that is able to look after the kids while you're gone. Like, I've been traveling so much overseas to speak and train and teach. I think what I've really learned is to have a good support system at home and having good friends as well that are not looking at you in envy, that are actually supportive and helping you out, and a really, really good team to stand behind you.
It's almost like running a business is a great personal development tool. If you just take finances alone, most people have a hard time balancing their own budget. But when you have a company, you have to manage the company's budget, their budget, its income. You have to manage your personal income. And then your staff, if you have a staff, they often might come to you because they've had some sort of family emergency, or they want to do something and they need to advance on a pay or something like that. And so it really forces you to think like a superficial layer, 2 or 3 layers deep on everything, managing your finances, skill development, and it just kind of evolves organically, naturally. There's no rule that businesses have to make money. So even if you have a full-time job, get a business and write off all your losses and expenses, on courses and all the things that you're doing while you figure it out. I just think that everyone should have a business. Do you feel that anything ever held you back in the beginning? I mean, I guess you kind of hinted a bit. You said your mindset was really in your way. Or, what kind of training did you do to overcome that?
For me, it was just to be around a really good group of like-minded people that helped me with that as well. To just surround yourself with people that think the same, that have the same struggles they go through every day, that just help each other out and be supportive. Another thing I struggled with was the techie stuff, like the landing page and everything. Now I do that in my sleep. I think a lot of people, when they see something new, they just don't even get started, or they don't even want to figure it out. They just go, nah, that's too hard. Put that in the too hard basket.
Yep. No, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's super amazing. And I think you're right. It's the hard skills and then the soft skills. It seems difficult, but then it gets easy. When I had my martial arts school, I would see people lose matches before they even began. They would stand up and they'd see their opponent and they would just kind of divert eye contact. They'd look to the ground, their posture would change, and it was like they just kind of started hanging out waiting to be defeated. So I think that that's a really important thing, and it kind of comes back to what we talked about having a 24-hour day that you just love. I watched this great video. The founder of Patreon was talking about all these prolific people. You don't really get to choose what you're famous for. There's no way we could predict the wants and needs of hundreds of thousands of people. So you don't really get to pick what you're famous for. All you can do is have a passion and love making movies and make hundreds of them. And then hopefully you're known for a few of them that become really big. You'll make some great movies. You'll make some terrible movies. You'll make some funny movies. You'll make some sad movies. But it's about loving what you do. It's the same thing with music writing. You'll write tens of thousands of songs, but only maybe a few will get out there. But at least the ones that get out there, some will be great, some won't be so great. It's like you're saying about not being a perfectionist. It's about just taking massive action and about just doing stuff for the sake of putting it out into the world, even if it's not perfect. People will collaborate. People will come in and they'll contribute. They'll help. You don't want to put out garbage, that's for sure.
I find that my most liked and most viral going content is the stuff that I do that comes from the heart straight up, and I don't think about it very much. And I don't sit there and write copy for half an hour. I literally just type and I send. And there's mistakes in there too. But a lot of people go live having like a point list in front of them. I literally find most of my best content, it's literally I press the button and I go, okay, I have a thought in my mind. And I'm just going to start now and we'll see what comes out. And this is literally how I do my live videos. And most of the time, if they're not planned, they are the best and they actually have the best impact. And because they're more heartfelt and they're not as thought out.
People can sense your authenticity and they resonate with the realness. That's something that I noticed. I know some people that do a lot of marketing, like paid ad marketing, and they said on Instagram, at least with the paid ads, that the non-polished stuff looks the best. If you use really polished images on Instagram, it doesn't resonate with anyone. It just seems it's not real. You know, it's just too new, too different, too something. It's just not real. It's not someone in their neighborhood. It's not someone that they can empathize with and see themselves. I mean, people want to grow into their role model. So Julia, you've been so helpful and so forthcoming, and you've really given a lot of content, gave us a ton of stuff to talk about. We talked about the value of taking massive action. You broke down how mindset is so important, how you visualize success every day, how you're not afraid to work really hard and be willing to invest in your business in terms of time and money. Even if you have kids, you're not necessarily taking from them. You're actually investing in a future as long as you don't give up and you surround yourself with a coach or a mentor and like-minded people. Those are a couple of your secrets of success. And you also talked about how you just found out your true purpose by asking other people, hey, what am I really good at? What do you think is my calling? And then you kind of pursued it just organically, like you said, just playing around like a hobby, and just built an organic Facebook group, a group of people that were into what you were into, and then just tried to help them. And after helping them, they asked you, hey, could you do some training on this? And so you did a training event and maybe asked around and got some tips on what to price at, and people bought it. And the people that couldn't make it were like, hey, can you do an online course for us? So you really just broke down how to build sort of an organic business and how to overcome some of the major obstacles that people face. So you've been really helpful, extremely forthcoming. Well, if people are interested in following up with you, if they have a question that I didn't ask, where should they reach out?
You can email me at info@juliamann, M-A-N-N. Julia is not Julie, by the way. JULIAMANN.com.au.
That's awesome. Julia, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you could be spending time with your thousands of followers, with your kids, with some of your paying clients, but you came to come here and help me and my community. So thank you so much for coming and sharing and being so open and transparent. I know it's going to help some people. I know some people have got some ideas, ahas. They're going to make a list of what they can do, what they can delegate, what they can buy, and what they want to achieve in the next 30 days. And hopefully they'll get some action done that will help them get the results that they want. So I appreciate you and thank you so much for your time today. You've reached the end of our interview. Now first, let me thank you for listening. I appreciate and respect you more than you'll ever know. And now I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what 3 lessons did you just learn? What 3 aha moments just jumped out at you? Second, what can you implement for yourself and your business in the next 24 hours? Third, what can you give to someone else to help you with, or give them to just do it for you? Whatever it is, remember, taking action is the secret sauce to results. Now, if you think this interview would be helpful for a friend, please give them a link to it. It'll help them and it'll help me too. I'd also like to invite you to help me find out more about the challenges you're facing, your dreams, your goals, and how I can help you overcome what's holding you back. We both do better when we know better. And your success is my success. So please reach out and interact. You can visit our website, bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, where I'm from and where I'm living. You're welcome to also try out one of our paid programs. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much every other social media channel you can think of. You should also subscribe to the podcast. And if you're enjoying them, please leave us a nice review. It really helps. That's all for now. Once again, thank you. Take care of yourself, and remember, the world needs the best business you can build. And I believe in you.
So look, I was privileged enough to sit in the room the other day and listen to Daryl present.
I had the great fortune to spend some time with Daryl Abrinsky during this week, and we had an incredible 2.5-hour presentation from Daryl.
Daryl was amazing. I got so many little nuggets of wisdom.
I hadn't heard Daryl speak before, but what struck me from his presentation was
he's one of these hidden masters in the internet marketing world who's worked on some pretty incredible launches.
Daryl has a ridiculous amount of knowledge.
Daryl Abrinsky's presentation was absolutely great. I really loved
an incredible knowledge of numbers. He is a very articulate, very knowledgeable, very advanced marketer.
Well, he talked a lot about keyword tools and how to research your niche.
So it really created a lot of predictability around moving forwards in our business with the marketing and sales aspect, which is so important to any business to really see it grow.
Where he walks you through step by step
how to judge in detailed form how much money you could potentially make from a market based on AdWords, keyword research, and putting together quite complex Excel spreadsheets.
And what I took away from it is not only understanding your niche market, but also looking at and breaking down and going, am I working with the right niche? Is there enough demand there for me to be able to reach my goals? And doing that hard research.
There's a lot of gurus out there that present you a lot of the why and the what, but they don't necessarily give you the how. And what I really found with Daryl's presentation, there's no holding back. There was no holding back the screens or the curtains. Like, everything was given to really assist us.
His feasibility and due diligence is incredible, and he was able to show us in a really short space of time how to cut through the overwhelm.
You're giving us the exact tools that we can use to test something before we even go to start testing it by spending money on it.
One of the biggest nuggets that I got out of his presentation was that when people pay, they pay attention, and when people pay a lot, they pay a lot of attention. I just love that. I think that's a great way to look at how to price yourself.
And he was a great speaker, lots of energy, and it was really great to spend time with him.
Honestly, phenomenal presentation.
I would love to catch up with him, next time I'm in this part of the world.